We've all been there, right? Sitting on that crinkly paper-covered table in a doctor's office, kind of waiting for the exam to start. It's a familiar feeling, maybe even a little anxious. But have you ever really stopped to listen to the words the doctor is using? Well, today we're going to do just that. We're pulling back the curtain on the subtle and honestly pretty powerful language of a medical exam.
Yeah, these phrases, they're so common they're almost invisible, aren't they? It's like the background music of a checkup. You hear them, you do what they say, and you probably don't give them a second thought. But is that all they are? Just a standard, practical way to get things done? Or is there maybe something more going on just under the surface?
So, here's the big idea for this explainer. What if this language isn't accidental at all? What if every single one of those words is chosen on purpose, designed to guide you, the patient, on a very specific psychological journey? Okay, let's break it down.
Okay, so the first part of this script, if you want to call it that, is all about permission. Think about it. Before an exam can really even begin, the doctor has to build this foundation of cooperation and rapport. And it all starts with a very specific way they ask for things. Let's take this classic phrase. It seems so simple, right? But it is a fantastic example of subtle, super effective communication. It's not just a request, it's really an invitation for you to participate in your own care. So let's really look at how this one little phrase builds trust, word by word. First up, could you? See, that makes it a question you have the power to answer, not some command you have to obey. Then, you get that little word just. That totally minimizes what's being asked, making it feel like no big deal. Then there's for me, which creates this personal, human-to-human connection. And of course, you wrap it all up with please, which is just a universal sign of respect. When you put them all together, wow, it's a really powerful combination.
And you see this pattern pop up again and again. Can you give me your right hand, please? It's the exact same formula. This permission-based language, it consistently and very deliberately puts you, the patient, in a position of control and agreement. And that is absolutely essential for what's about to come next.
And this right here, this just shows the difference so clearly. Imagine if a doctor just said, "Give me your hand." It feels so abrupt, right? Impersonal, kind of demanding. Now compare that to, "Can you give me your right hand, please?" See? The second one feels like a team effort. It's collaborative. The first is just a command. That choice of words completely changes the entire vibe in the room.
So, okay, once that foundation of permission is all set, the script kind of moves into its next phase. And this part is a really carefully calibrated journey. It's all about gently guiding the patient into a state of increasing physical vulnerability, but at the same time, making sure they feel safe and trust the process.
You can think of it like a ladder of trust. Just look at the progression here. Step 1, opening your mouth. That's a pretty small act. Then you tilt your head. Okay, a little more. Then you roll up a sleeve. You expose your arm. And then hold it out straight. That's a position of a little more vulnerability. See how each step is just a tiny bit bigger than the last one? It's all building on what came before.
So every time you agree to one of these little requests, you're giving what you could call a micro-consent. It's actually a well-known persuasion technique in psychology, sometimes called the foot-in-the-door technique. You get someone to say yes to something small, and that makes them way more likely to say yes to something bigger later on. It creates this kind of psychological momentum, so it just feels natural to agree to the next, slightly more involved request.
So all of this, the language of permission, this ladder of vulnerability, it's all building towards one single crucial moment. This is the ultimate goal of the entire conversation. This might just be the most important line in the entire script. It sounds so simple, but just stop and think about what's really being asked here. The doctor is asking you to consciously let go, to stop tensing up, to basically surrender a degree of active control over your own body. And this brings us to a really key concept, clinical trust. It's this idea that a patient surrenders their conscious control, but it's built on all that rapport and consent we've been talking about, all established through that careful communication. So it's not just about believing your doctor knows what they're doing, it's about reaching this very specific, very cooperative state of mind.
So yeah, the request to breathe normally is the physical instruction, sure, but the subtext, that's purely psychological. It's a huge invitation to trust the process, to trust the professional, and to just let them do their work. It really, truly is all about letting go.
So when you put all these pieces together, what you start to see is that these phrases that seem so ordinary, they're actually parts of a really sophisticated and honestly, a deeply human dialogue.
So let's just recap what this script actually accomplishes. 1, it establishes rapport almost instantly. 2, it gains your consent, not with some form you have to sign, but with every single gentle question. 3, it carefully manages your natural feeling of vulnerability. 4, it systematically builds this bridge of trust. And finally, by doing all of that, it transforms what could be a cold medical procedure into an act of genuine human care.
And that right there is the real power of all this. It's such a great reminder that in medicine, communication isn't just some soft skill on the side. No way. It is a primary clinical tool. Just by using a few carefully chosen words, a really powerful and totally necessary connection is made between a doctor and their patient.
So the next time you find yourself in that exam room and you hear those familiar phrases, just ask yourself, what are you going to hear now? Are you just going to hear a list of instructions? Or are you going to hear the subtle, powerful language of trust building piece by piece right in front of you? What will you hear between the words?